What's going on? Back at it again. What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Don't Win Ever. Back at it again with another episode. Except this time, we're in 2003. We are in the playoff hunt. As if you don't know the team by now, we are the New York Knicks. The Knickerbockers. Those guys from Bronx. The Bronx Bombers. We are in playoff position, as I do show the standings. Currently we are ready to make it as the 6th seed right now if we did play. And we are going to show a game. We're going to jump right into the action, guys. Welcome to this series. As we do franchise rebuilds, what we're going to try to do is go at least a decade with these teams, get to the next era at the minimum, and see how many championships we can win. See,
a celebration of the Latin culture. Tonight, it'll be the Washington Wizards going up against the New York Knicks here in New York. Kevin Harlan here with Greg Anthony and Clark Kellogg, and our sideline reporter is David Aldridge.
We'll be doing this Knicks one as well in 2003. So after this game, I will show you the rosters and how everybody looks now, as we do have some different players going on in the action. Allen Houston, Mr. Walking Bucket. We do have the guy who used to play for FSU as their quarterback, Charlie Ward, as our point guard. And let's get ready to rumble. Getting this game on. This would be Jordan's last game in Madison Square Garden. So we definitely wanted to see, especially as a Wizards fan, for me personally, wanted to see what Jordan would do in his last game. Larry Hughes does come up after Allen Houston nails that three. And patented jumper from Jordan, coming from the wing, too smooth. Latrell Sprewell is another good player on our roster. He does dribble the ball up. As this team, I really honestly didn't expect us to be playing this well. That's why we are up to this point. Looking at the roster, we don't have too much. We really just have Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell, along with some players like Howard Isley that you'll see later on. Charlie Ward, who is a fantastic player, as young Kwame Brown does have a nice putback to get the game tied up. 11-13. Jordan comes in for the hop and does force the foul, as the 39-year-old is still doing it. And speaking of old fellas, we like LeBron going into his 40-year-old season. That's definitely big ups to him, playing for a long time. Definitely argue Jordan might have did the same if he didn't have to play with the regulations like LeBron had, because LeBron did come out of high school. So who knows? But Jordan does miss the free throw. What's going on, big fella? Come on, old fella. Better get them shots together. As he does have to recollect himself and remember those last 15 or so years he's played. All that experience to now be a Washington Wizard, because I'm pretty sure he had like partial ownership or something in the company. I guess it is kind of a company, but in the business, in the franchise, which probably I think helped him get to that Hornets organization. And that's why he became the owner. He did kind of get stake into the Wizards, I guess. Of course, if you got stake, might as well play, help the odds. Kwame Brown does get the rebound off the miss from us. And later on, we will also kind of go over some of the weaknesses of this team, some ways that we'll definitely try to build through trades, through free agency, and hopefully through the draft. As we definitely want to see what's going on in what everybody arguably calls the best draft ever in 2003. But Houston is getting double teamed, as he's been on fire lately, hitting some nice jumpers, some threes, some daggers. Charlie Ward pulls up, definitely bricks that one as he had to get it off with the shot clock running low. and Jerry Stackhouse, as this was a surprisingly different Wizards team. They had Stackhouse, Hughes, Jordan, a young Kwame Brown, who people still thought was good, as Jordan, by the way, smooth as ever. Alright, telling me to calm down. I'm a hush. Moment of silence. Alright, back at it. Ward has a nice crossover. Hits Rebracia, who does get it to Houston. And as we're kind of seeing, that is definitely one of our weaker spots. Houston definitely throws a nice pass to Harrington to get the bucket. But as we're seeing, we know Allen Houston always gonna hit his jumpers. But other than Latrell Sprewell, definitely looking for some more scoring options to help us out. Getting us further into the game, we're now at the beginning of the second quarter. 10 minutes and 28 seconds left. Tyronn Lue pulls up from deep and hits the three. That's Coach Lue showing us how he was in his younger days, hitting the dagger on us. Definitely left the green beans just for the wrong freaking team. Isley does pull it up, passes it to Anderson, who passes it to Antonio McDyess. Definitely more of a veteran at this point in his career. Not too much the 2010 guy, but still a solid, productive player. Houston pulls up again, right in his face. They can't handle the truth. He ain't Paul Pierce, but he giving them boys ruthless pressure. Definitely getting some buckets on them. They can't stop him. Juan Dixon does swing it, and Tyronn Lue does hit Jordan in the post. Randomly does a hook shot instead of his patent fadeaway. Come on, computer. And then Allen Houston is trying to get his ISO on, but he figures it's better off to kick it, as we really don't have too much of an offense identity. It really is just, we need guys to hit jumpers, as McDyess hits a filthy one-legger looking like Dirk out there. Love to see it. But really, we just have a lot of guys who either come off screens like Houston. Sprewell can help a little bit with that area. And a couple post-up guys, obviously in 03, post play was still pretty prominent during this time. Isley hits a nice three-pointer to extend the lead to 4 as the Wizards pull it up. Loving what we're seeing from the offense, though. Definitely hitting some nice jumpers. As Jordan starts getting double teamed, leaves Eton Thomas wide open for the dunk. Definitely don't want to be that predictable with our double teams, especially the center. He was already standing right next to the hoop. Definitely need some better defense on that play. Charlie Ward does set up for the ISO, hits a nice cross, decides to bring it back out to the 3-point line. Like the pick and roll, Houston pulls up, nice midi. Love to see the pull up, as Houston has got it. Houston, they have a problem. They can't stop that man. Like Mark Jackson says, "Mama, there goes that man." Hughes pulls up for his own midi though, and makes it. Standing right there at the elbow. Definitely seeing some nice shot creating off the picks from both teams. Nothing less you would expect from a playoff team and a team that's fringe on the playoffs. As he do get the pass over Eton Thomas for the nice slam from McDyess. Every back and forth game. We'll like to see some better defense from us, but the offense is definitely flowing nicely. Jordan comes off the screen, but then doesn't get the pass. He does finally get it, but decides to give it to Eton in the paint. Nice finish. Definitely need better better interior defense on that. Getting into halftime, the Wizards did kind of take a little bit of a run. So coming into the half, out of the half, it is now a 7-point lead for the Wizards. As the offense has gone cold, Charlie Ward has not been able to hit the shots he sometimes hits, and Sprewell hasn't been able to do well in his isolations. But we already know that man Houston, but he misses that one. Jordan trying to get them old legs moving, barely gets it down the court. I don't know how this man ain't tired, but he almost gets ripped. Nice pumps, and hits a floater on him. I guess Jordan got more crafty with his age, but Houston shoots a deep 3, and he ain't missing the open ones. He ain't gonna keep missing them anyways. as he hits a deep three. Looks like that was about a 28-footer. Houston showing he can extend that range and carry a team. That's why we have him locked up to a big deal. But we'll check on the contracts later on in the video. We'll do an overview and everything, all of that. It's almost playoff time. We got to get our team in shape and ready. So skip all that introduction stuff. We trying to show these guys that we can't hit the ball. Especially for the hometown fans. Look how packed the crowd is. You know, Madison Square Garden. Spike Lee and the rest of the crew definitely rooting for us to bring home that championship. I believe it's been since the 70s since the Knicks won. It's been a pretty long time. So definitely want to bring one to the Bronx. Help these boys out. Stackhouse come up for the mid-range, but he just does a bunch of pumps. As we know from his Golden State days, Trell Sprewell was a good defender. So we want him to replicate that here in New York. As he is also signed up to a pretty good contract. Nice pass coming in to our center, Abracia. Love to see it. Love to see the ball moving, cutting the lead down to 1 now with 8:30 left. Jordan, another wide open midi, but he misses it. Told y'all, he ain't as youthful as he used to be, so definitely starting to miss some more jumpers. But Brendan Haywood definitely got him out of the Tar Heel country, out of North Carolina. Definitely got him with the putback. You know, when Houston in the game, he gets
another one.
That's another one. From long range, he letting us know he coming to play. He'll carry the team if needed. He gonna make sure we make them playoffs. Charlie Ward tries to push the tempo. Definitely see that Houston has his takeover. So we run the patented play, the elevator. I don't say elevator because it's missing the second guy. But a nice double screen. And Houston hits it again. Someone get a hand up, man. They need to triple team this man. How they gonna just keep sitting here letting them do it? And now when we are up 3, you can hear the crowd. You can feel the crowd going crazy, going wild. Definitely loving to see the home team doing what they can do as Jordan pulls up from 3 and bricks that one. Definitely Houston time out here in New York. He out here changing the location because he's dropping so many bombs. He's dropping them from long range. But we can't depend on this for the whole game because you never know when it's Ward's turn. Hey, love to see it passing back to each other off of nice picks and screens from our big men. Love to see it, man. We do go up 3 points again from that long range bomb. It's their turn to hit the midi, but they do miss. Pushing the pace a little bit, something we haven't really been doing all game as we don't have much fast break. But Houston shows he got that work, man. He not only a shooter, but he can finish. The Ward's cooled off a little bit from that hot shooting he had earlier. But Sprewell has his move. Nice little double cross, goes through. Tries to hit the... Okay. I think Kwame Brown hit it like something. He was mad at somebody, man. He smacked the shit out of that. But luckily, it goes right into one of our players' hands. But man, the blocks can be vicious sometimes. Like, man, he waited patiently for that. As soon as it came out dog's hand, he spiked it. Spike Lee. Now you know for your next movie. As eventually we will play Mr. He Got Game himself. But that will be another episode. Nice little pumps. We do get the foul. And Charlie Ward is mad at the young fella. Man, he showed him why he signed to New York, man. Because he got that grit. He got that grind, man. He said he ain't playing no games. He ain't like the way he got hit. Kwame didn't need to hit him like that. He came right up in dog face like, what's up? The young fella had to back down, man. Look at young pup right in his eyes, man. Said, calm down, big fella. You can see Kwame. He's like, I don't want no beef, man. No beef, man. I don't like the violence, man. You can see dog looking away and everything, man. That nigga Charlie Ward don't play no games, bro. Gotta watch out. But Clarence Witherspoon does have a nice bucket to get us up to start off the fourth quarter. It's the money time. These were stars are made. So we're definitely trying to give Houston some time to rest so he can come back. As Jordan hits a couple more fakes and a nice float game. As Jordan got pretty crafty, man. Him and Tyronn Lue must have been out there, you know. Tyronn Lue must have showed him a little something as a smaller guard, because he hit nice little floaters, man. He ain't hitting the post phase like he usually do. Juan Dixon pulls it up. No options available, so they settle for the screen for the pick and roll. Eton Thomas pulls up from 3. Man, these Wizards are balling today, man. Definitely fighting for their playoff lives, so they're not playing no games out here. As now they have team takeover after playing some good D. Don't switch up, and Juan Dixon hits another one, man. Killing us, man. Ain't been in the fourth quarter. I don't think he's even played much. I ain't seen him all game, but now he's showing up, dropping buckets on us. I guess they figure, why not do it again as they're up 2. Hits him with a nice behind the back pick and roll with Brendan Haywood. Midi pull up, and he hits it. My man's come out like a lightning rod, looking like little baby Jamal Crawford out here. 6th man of the year with it. He's hit the last 3 shots for the Wizards. But Houston's turn. As you know, he's going to make it rain on them from mid-range to help us cut that lead a little closer. Down by 4. Houston again. Bang. Love to see it, man. Only down by 1 now with 5 minutes left. Crowd going crazy. They know that we have a chance, man. We want to move up in seeding. We don't want to be in the lower seeds. We want the home court advantage to play in front of our fans in a possible Game 7. The Trail Sprewell does blurst right by him. What a nice slam. Jordan was just a step too slow getting Sprewell, and we take the lead. Yeah, you know it's Hughes time, but I don't know what he's going to do with the rock. Young fella don't know too much of what he's doing right now. Kwame Brown, he ain't shooting from the outside. Get out of here. But Jordan with the nice midi. Oh, man, you can't leave him open from there. Hey, Brazier coming off the screen. I guess we didn't switch on that to play that. And forgot to close out efficiently, man. Jordan hitting those. We were in the same kind of action for Houston. But, that fatigue from all that shooting definitely cost him. But he hits an even tougher one. Man, it was right in his grill, right at the elbow. No matter. Houston, he has landed, man. He's crazy. As both superstars are fatigued but still giving it their best. Jordan with another closeout, another floater game, but Ward with a good closeout this time. He does beat Jordan down the court. Nice foul. Love to see how he pushed. As we look at the nice block from Brazier, showing that he can help defend on the inside, smacking it against the backboard. That's all we need right now, as we do look for a future at that position. But at least we have a decent starter. But Houston's still showing that this game might not be over. Hitting another bucket and one. Dropping more buckets on their heads. They can't stop the man. You see how much he got. 45 with the 6 assists though. He is pretty much our sole offense. But we love to see that he can even hit the layups, the tough layups late in the game when we know he's fatigued. And now it's his turn to drop it from the line. To get us to 100, the triple digits. Now we're up 4. That's to hear the crowd, can feel the crowd shouting MVP. If not, they need to, because this man is carrying us. Stackhouse for 3 though. Dang. Nice passing from Kwame Brown to set up Stackhouse off the pick. Love to see the screen action. Nice 3-pointer. Charlie Ward's turn to come off the pick and roll. Nice little pump, but now he's stuck in the paint. Turnover. Jordan steals the ball. It's going down the break. And an easy slam. Man, what in the world? What kind of pass was that? As the 39-year-old once again showing he got the legs to still move. Beating Sprewell down the court off the break. He hits the midi though. Not another one. Jordan is too hyped. We closed the gap, but then it got a little bit wider. Now with the last minute to go, they're only down by 5. What can we do? Giving the ball to Houston, but they're not letting him get through traffic. He jacks up another 3. And that's going to be it, guys. Jordan's last game in the Square Garden was a good one. 27 points, possibly 29 if he makes both free throws. And probably going to come out with the victory. Definitely wish we could have did a little better on that one. We just had some cold spurts and some lapses coming around some screens, leaving guys open in spots where we know they'll hit those. But the games might not be over. He definitely hits that. Now we're down 6 with 30 seconds left. Can he hit this one? Another one. Now we're down 7, and that finished it. We wrapped it up. We did lose by 4. We did make another bucket, but it was too late with the time. Looking at the highlights, Houston, like we've been saying the whole game, was a walking bucket out there. Definitely appreciate signing him. We're going to keep him around for the long haul. He proved it in this game. That's how you keep the bag. Secure it and keep it, you know what I'm saying? Hitting all the jumpers. As we see, most of it was from the top of the 3-point line or the top of the key, but he was driving and also hitting it at other spots too from the mid-range. And he hit it from limitless. So we definitely love to see it. Appreciate the big man for the brick wall and helping us out. We need some more finishing and some more playmaking from our other guys. Ward did have a solid game to provide that second option. But other than that, you guys can see Sprewell only had a few points, and so did the rest of the game. Jordan, on the other hand, had plenty of help. He shot just below 50%, but had a couple steals, a few assists, and 29 points like we showed earlier. Stackhouse provided almost 20 on efficient shooting. Just playing. But Tyronn Lue did shoot 50% with 16 points to provide some help, along with a couple others that shot and scored double digits. Jordan was doing pretty well. He pretty much did what he did, man. As the old slugger does, he dominated the mid-range area. We continued to leave him open. He hit couple nice floaters, some nice deep middies, and finished like he used to sometimes. Nah, I'm just playing. He pretty much showed very little athleticism, but he showed the craftiness to bring this team to playoff form. So looking at that loss, we still are the 5th seed. I'm sorry, I said 6th seed earlier. 5th seed, but we'll take a look at the rosters. As right now, leading the way for the East is an old Reggie Miller and gang, with Jermaine O'Neal and Brad Miller as the highlights. Ron Artest as well, so definitely a very solid team. Definitely can see why they're number 1. As remember, guys, in this era, there is none of the modern superstars that we see today. Nets have a prime Jason Kidd and gang going crazy. Kenyon Martin, Kerry Kittles, definitely leading the way to their 2nd seed. The 3rd seed is the Detroit Pistons with a young Tayshaun Prince, Richard Hamilton, Ben Wallace, and Chauncey Billups. As Rasheed Wallace actually was supposed to come, I think, the middle of this season or next season. Let me know in the comments, guys, when Rasheed Wallace actually got to the Pistons. And we do have Kurt Thomas, who we highlighted was a 5-time Knick, but we did trade him. That was one of the only moves we did make up to this point, and we'll show that a little later. But he is on the Pistons, who is a 3rd seed as we round out the rest of the roster. The Celtics are next up at the 4th seed, headlined by the duo of Antoine Walker and Paul Pierce, along with Tony Battie, Tony Delk, Eric Williams, and J.R. Bremer, who I don't believe is a real person, but might be a real person. Obviously, us at that 5th seed, like I was saying earlier, definitely want to try to climb up. but we'll show ourselves. We'll show the rest of the roster later. Raptors are the 6th seed. But here are the coaches. Robert Henry is the head coach right now, who looks to be a pretty good guy. We do have a pretty good doctor, but some of our quirks or quick abilities, or some of what we're good at, which is mid-range scoring, defense, and some other things, but we are pretty poor at, like I was saying, playmaking and inside scoring and blocks. So interior, we're not the greatest, which is probably what's costing us some of our games. But we have been very hot lately, going 5 of 7. So definitely pretty good, as we actually were on a 5-game winning streak before we took that loss. And then we won one, lost one. So definitely have pulled all the way into playoff position after being pretty much a 9th, 10th seed. So definitely proud of the team. And we were facing a lot of injuries, which is why I really wasn't showing the beginning. We had a couple people injured. Houston was injured for a couple games, so was Spreewell, a couple other guys. So that's kind of the main reason why I wasn't showing it. We was kind of struggling, but then as soon as some of the guys came back, we just was rolling. But as we take a look at the last few seasons, been a mid-playoff team, about 4th, 5th seed, but we haven't really gone further than the second round. So we want to get that superstar, that guy that could push us above. But going back to the rest of the league, Vince Carter is the star headwaying Toronto with Antonio Davis. And then we do have Jesus Shuttlesworth and Sam Cassell on the Bucks, along with Tim Thomas and the Tony Kukoc coming off the bench with the young Michael Redd. And people forget, man, Michael Redd was a walking left-handed bucket too. That man used to get buckets. Nice lefty. Iverson, a couple years removed from their finals appearance, is still headlining that team with Keith Van Horn and company. And then the Hornets are headlined by Baron Davis, Jamal Mashburn, PJ Brown, Dale Davis, and Jamal McGlure, who was a guy who they just recently drafted. Also have the Hawks, who have a young the Jet, Jason Terry killing it out there with big dog Glenn Robinson as he ages, and Sharif Abdul-Rahim. D.L. Ratliff being that shot blocker at the 5. The team we did just face in the Wizards, who aren't too far removed from the 8th seed, with Larry Hughes, Stackhouse, and obviously Michael Jordan, like we showed earlier. The Bulls are kind of in rebuild mode at the moment, with Jalen Hurts, Danielle Marshall, a young Tyson Chandler, and a young Jamal Crawford. Eddie Curry also is coming off the bench for him, so definitely hoping some of their stars pan out, as they have used some young early draft picks on these guys. Tracy McGrady has left Toronto, and he is headlining the Orlando Magic at this point, as Shawn Kemp is like 5 years removed from that Seattle appearance against Jordan in Chicago. This is the Cavs team right before LeBron was supposed to come, with Darius Miles and obviously Big Z, but like he kind of was in real life, he was injured a lot. So he's injured currently at the moment. Miami Heat are definitely on the downturn, as all they have is Eddie Jones and a recently drafted Caron Butler, as aging Alonzo Mourning is starting to get fan himself out of the league at this point. I think he's like 37 at this point, 36, 37. But that does get us through the East. As we go back through the West, we all know about the greatness in Shaq and Kobe at this point. They're a couple years into their three-peat. This would be the 3rd year, I believe. I know y'all stat check me, so let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure this season, 2002-2003, would be the last of their three-peat. But they are headlined by Rick Fox, Irvin Johnson, Derek Fisher and company. Spurs, you already know who they got, Timmy D, but still have David Robinson before he does retire. Steven Jackson, Tony Parker, with Manu coming off the bench, as this is when he comes in line to win all those 6 Men in the Year awards. So definitely interested to see what this Spurs team does in the future, as I'm pretty sure they're the ones who win next. The next season, I believe they play the Nets and win, and then the Pistons win, and then so on. But we do have a young Suns team with Marbury, Starbury, Penny Hardaway, Sean Marion, and a young Amari Stoudemire. The Kings are surprisingly fourth with their great starting five. As we know, they rival the Lakers with C-Webb, Vlade, Peja, Christie, and Bibby, with Bobby Jackson coming off the bench, with Wesley Persons, Hilo Turkoglu, and Gerald Wallace. Bobby Jackson is currently injured though, but we know they definitely have a couple years to battle against these tough Lakers. And then the Mavericks have Nash still on their team, as he's definitely a lot younger on this team compared to the other rebuild. And Dirk Nowitzki headline this team with a couple other guys coming off the bench. Still got Coach Avery Johnson out there. It's a young Wizard squad. Well, I said Wizards. Young Warrior squad, I mean. With Mike Dunleavy, Gilbert Arenas, and that high flyer Jason Richardson. If you guys don't know, definitely check out his highlights. That man was a monster. That man was a crazy dunker. But Antoine Jameson also is on the team, but he's injured currently. But that is the 6th seed going on in the West. The 7th seed is highlighted by one superstar alone, and that is KG. But you can definitely see why their team is dropping, rhyming accidentally on those last few lines. As we can definitely tell, KG is injured currently, so hopefully they get him back so they can stay in the playoff picture. Definitely don't want to fall out because your star player is gone. And the last seed in the playoffs, as they don't have a play-in during this time, so this is definitely just based on seeding, is Portland, headlined by Scottie Pippen, a few years removed from those Bulls years, and Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace actually was on the Trailblazers before he did go to the Pistons, so he is kind of the best player on that team, with a young Zach Randolph and company, with a Sabonis' dad out there. As I'm losing my voice, guys, sorry. Man, Lamar Odom and Elton Brand, along with Mr. Slow-Mo, before Kyle Anderson, Andre Miller, headline this Clippers gang, with a couple pieces coming off the bench, as they're just outside the playoffs. And then in the Denver Nuggets, with a young Marcus Camby in the Nay, with a recently drafted Juan Howard. Well, there's a lot of coaches in this one. And then we got Steve Francis with Katino Mobley. Definitely one of my favorite players out there. Was a baller back in his day. And at the center spot is supposed to be Yao Ming, but same thing as Big Z. Like back in the day, he's injured a lot. As we know in real life, his foot always killed him. So we hope definitely Wemby with his height doesn't have the same problems. But the Rockets do have the franchise to headline, even though they definitely need Yao to get back in the playoff picture. The Sonics are a young team, headlined by Rashard Lewis and gang, and the older Gary Payton. And the Grizzlies definitely have some young bucks, as they're supposed to be Vancouver, but don't mind the Memphis. I'm going to have to change that in next rebuilds. But the Vancouver Grizzlies have Shane Battier, Jason Williams, and Paul Gasol. As you can see, a lot of the seeding has been affected by injuries, and same with ours. Same with our season. We had some injuries earlier on, but it's all right. We're still making it. An older John Stockton and Karl Malone, who are far removed from their finals days, are still headlining this Jazz squad, with Matt Harpring and Andre Karolinko, as they don't have too much off the bench, but they do have a young Deshaun Stevenson. And put in the comment section Stevenson if y'all remember, man, because he was a pretty good defender and hooper too. But that does round off how the rosters are looking at this point. But focusing back more on our team, like I said earlier on the episode, we did trade Kurt Thomas to the Pistons. So let me show you what we got for Thomas. As we look at some other trades, Anthony Mason was traded to the Lakers, surprisingly, for Robert Horry. So that's why we didn't see him when we were going through the rosters. Jared, I'm saying all kind of words today. Greg Ostertag was also traded from the Grizzlies, which is why we didn't see him on there. And as you can see, Kurt Thomas was traded for a first round top 10 protected pick next year, for a unprotected Grizzlies pick, and Rebracia, which is why we saw Rebracia at center and not Kurt Thomas, who would normally be there for the Knicks. I hated to trade a long-time Knick that had been there for 5 years, and I wasn't planning on it, but the deal was just too good to pass up. We get a top 10 protected pick on our end, so if we do suck, we're still good. And this year, we get the Grizzlies pick, and we saw what record the Grizzlies were. The Grizzlies were a bottom 3 team. So with this being one of the best drafts ever, we look to get a pretty good pick. Checking out our current roster, our current team, Allen Houston from last game, as you can probably guess, is our leading scorer on the team, shooting well above 20 points a game, but he is also our workhorse with the minutes as well. Him and Sprewell definitely are our 2 workhorses out there, but they're getting paid the most. As you can see, their contracts, 4 years, a lot of millions for Houston, as the salary cap works a lot different in this time period. So $14 million a year is pretty wealthy back then. That was basically star player money. Checking out a lot of his badges, as y'all could guess from watching the game, he is a shooter. That boy can hit the middies, he can hit the 3-point. He's basically like a slim Melo, a shorter Durant. But his thing is, he's not the best shot creator as he is getting up there in age. He is 31, so he isn't as fluid with the movements as he used to be. Him and Sprewell are both above their 30s. So we definitely want to see what we can do with this gang and company as they're aging and kind of limping in the playoff spots. But we look into Sprewell's attributes. A pretty solid defender. Definitely still has that athleticism, but not as good as it was back in the day. As we know, he had them bunnies. Still kind of have it. Can ISO a little bit. Can catch it off the dribble. Finish, as we saw earlier in the episode, finishing with the jam. And definitely has a nice catch and shoot option. And appreciate the fact that he has some pretty solid defense. But the only other problem is him and Houston play the same exact positions. So that does kind of lock down any chance of really getting a small forward or a shooting guard, because they'll take up majority of the minutes, as we saw. Looking at some other attributes, Rebracia is our leading rebounder, with Harrington and McDyess following up. McDyess is primarily because you can see he has came off the bench for a good portion of the season. Assist is really just Charlie Ward, as that's been his primary job, throwing off of screens, as we saw a lot in the last game. But he is also a ball hawk, so that steal attribute, having over 1 steal a game, is nice to have. As we love the defensive effort, that is what our coach is proficient in with his system, is defense. So we want defensive guys, but we also want guys who can score as well, as we need the balance. 3-point shooting is pretty much just Houston and then everybody else. Houston shooting solid from there, Isley shooting solid, but then it's everybody else is kind of meh. So we definitely can see where we can improve, as that's what kind of shined in our loss to the Wizards, was our inability to keep up with their scoring pace. Taking a look at some of the other stats, we're kind of seeing without Houston, there'll definitely be some more problems. Dang, that phrase is so usable. I've used it like 3 times. Maybe I should have a counter next time. But yeah, it's definitely been a problem, as he is the main reason why we've even had a chance to be in the playoffs. But McDyess and Sprewell have definitely been some good additions to the roster, helping our core and building us into a playoff contender. Now looking into the overall league, this is when Kobe was at his finest. So he's leading the league with well above 30 points a game. Iverson is not too far behind. And Tracy McGrady, having his own team, is dropping buckets as well. Vince Carter seems to be having no problem though, dropping 28 a game. And the Big Diesel is right after him. As you can take a look, Houston is right after that, number 6. So we're looking to be a potential all-star, but since we've already sent past that point, I'll just let you guys know he wasn't. Fortunately, he was one of the guys who was snubbed for the all-star game. I don't really know why, as I felt like his stats were good enough, but I guess some other guys were a little more popular, like this guy right here, Michael Jordan. Gary Payton still hooping, and Jermaine O'Neal starting to get into his prime. So definitely an interesting time period for the NBA. And Chris Webber has 5.5 assists, loving that motion offense out there in Sacktown. 11.5 rebounds for that. Yeah, Chris Webber's doing pretty good. Let's look at the rest of the stat line. Shoot. Baron Davis, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Wally Zerbiak is dropping buckets in KG's absence. As we're only going to go this far through the points, so we can look at a bunch of different other players, kind of see what the rest of the league is looking like. Sean Marion and the mailman Malone. I was about to say Post Malone, but that's not his name. He's just Karl Malone, who be in the post. Like they're about to get me for a second. He's still doing it at his old age. Looking at some other stats, rebound is Marcus Camby and Boozer, rounding out that top 10. Yao Ming was doing pretty well, averaging a double-double before he did get injured, along with Jermaine O'Neal, Chris Webber. Obviously Shaq, Elton Brand, a young Elton Brand. What was his name? He had a nickname. I can't remember what it was. If y'all figure that out, man, put that in the comments too, man. What is it? What was Elton Brand's nickname? I can't remember what it was. But Ben Wallace is also up there. If you know how much of a defensive monster he is. I think this is before he went to the Defensive Player of the Years. So we're definitely interested to see what he gets. Jason Kidd headlining the assist guys, as he is having a huge year, averaging a double-double. Career high in points. So even carrying the offensive load even more than usual. But still averaging those 2 steals, so that's great to see. And turnovers haven't went up too much. So the kid is doing his thing, man. I just had to take a look at that. And then Jason Williams. Jason Williams is second. Andre Miller, Steve Nash, Starberry, Gary Payton. And we do see a Charlie Ward at number 8 with 7.3 to round out that top 10. With Jamal Tinsley and Jason Terry rounding out and finishing it again. I'm sorry, man. I keep messing up my words, man. Going on a rant on myself, man. That frustrates me. I'm pretty sure ain't no one who's frustrated when you mispronounce stuff. But Gary Payton still doing it at the age of 34. Aaron McKee out there with the steals. Allen Iverson also up there getting close to 2 steals a game. Kobe Bryant has 2 a game. Ron Artest, Baron Davis, and Jason Kidd. So Jason Kidd is also leading the league in assists and steals. Kobe's not too far behind. Theo Ratliff, as we mentioned earlier, is that Hall of Fame anchor, leading the league in blocks with Ben Wallace, Shaq, Timmy D. Not too far behind him. Karolinka also up there. Marcus Camby and Sean Bradley, as everyone knows, was who got dunked on by Vince Carter. That's crazy. That's all he's really known for. But he had a pretty okay career as a bench guy. Looking at the greatest 3-point shooters of the season, I made that sentence seem so epic. But anyways, Dirk is shooting a phenomenal percentage from 3 so far this year. Looking at the overall field goal percentage, obviously Shaq and the other post players are up there. Reggie Miller shooting crazy percentage from free throw. He pretty much never misses. And looking at who's one of the most effective players on the court, you can see Troy Murphy and company shooting great from three. But I was going to look at the plus minus, but I was like, forget it. Let me see what the usage and estimated wins is. So Allen Iverson has a scorching 32.8, and Karl Malone, along with Jordan, even at his old age, really have high usage and have taken a good portion of their shots for their team, which explains the good numbers. Ricky Davis was definitely a surprise. Gary Payton still carrying his offense. And usage doesn't always mean scoring. It also means like assist and other ways of moving the ball. But it's obviously primarily scoring. But right now, in terms of who's the most valuable player, most wins added, looks like it is Kobe, with Iverson, Duncan, the Big Diesel, T-Mac, and company rounding off the rest of the game. Well, definitely hoping to... Man, I gotta do a counter for how many times I said definitely. Anyways, guys. But we are getting into the end of the season. Got about 10 or so games. No, 19 games left, as we are at game 63. We do have a blowout victory versus the Grizzlies, which we love to see, because obviously we had their first round pick, so the more they lose, the better pick we get. We have a chance of getting. But Allen Houston does continue his hot shooting, him and Sprewell, as Houston drops 41 and Sprewell drops 30. Great shooting from our stars, as we need them to carry the offensive load for now, until we can maybe draft later on a better talent that can kind of provide that third option for us. That's what we're definitely looking for in this upcoming draft, and we love to stomp on our pick to do it. But we do have a tough schedule remaining the rest of the way, as we do have Eastern Conference foes that are all potential playoff teams. Next up, though, is going to be a game versus the Bucks, as that's the next point that we'll be playing. But we will take a look at the picks. As you can see, that Grizzly pick is estimated to be the third pick as far as lottery odds right now, so that's the likelihood that we'll get the third pick. We all know LeBron James. King James is going to go number one no matter who gets the first pick. So he's definitely off the board. Melo and Wade and Bosh are obviously all toss-ups, but we definitely want to see if we can bring Melo to the gang. Can we bring Melo to New York without having to trade him? Can we just straight up draft him and let him be our franchise guy? We might really have a chance. He's definitely in a position of need, as we need a guy at the power forward spot, and he looks to play that. Coming out of Syracuse, we all know his fantastic freshman year he had, leading the Orange to a championship. As we look at LeBron's comparisons and his strengths and weaknesses, as we know that James is going to be the GOAT. Chris Bosh does round out that big four. He had a fantastic season coming out of Georgia Tech. Shot really well from three, shot 50%, 3.2 blocks a game. Definitely would be close to top of the league right now. And then we also have Dwayne Wade shooting pretty well as well, shooting 39% from three, but struggling from the free throw. But we know how Dwayne Wade's game is. Great guard that can play pretty good defense, finish well, and be able to dunk at home, but not the greatest three-point shooter, but a mid-range threat. We honestly could use any of the four, and hopefully we are able to land just a top four pick, as that is all we really need. Any of those guys would be great. LeBron, Wade, Melo, or Bosh would all help the team greatly, as we really don't have too much salary cap left with the big deals we have, and we need some more potential on this roster. Rounding out the rest of the draftees, we do see people like Darko Milicic, Luke Rittenauer, Jarvis Hayes, and a couple other guys, David West, Kirk Heinrich, other people that we can see, Kyle Korver, as we definitely know he's a great sharpshooter, and Luke Walton, the son of Bill Walton, see his rookie season come next season, and a couple other good guys to round out the game, Marcus Banks. So also can maybe find some future role players, some bench guys, some 7th, 8th man guys that can come in as Keith Bogans, as Kendrick Perkins, Matt Bonner. Could definitely be some useful pieces, or at least some useful, very close together. Mo Williams is also out there in this draft, with Dante Jones coming out of Duke. Well, definitely a pretty good draft. Leandro Barbosa also comes out of this draft, as you guys know him from the Kings rebuild. This will be his rookie year coming up. So definitely some good depth along with some stardom. So we might look to possibly trade up to get some more picks. Kind of similar to what we might do in other rebuilds. But man, we face an injury to one of our bench players as Shannon Anderson does break his leg. So obviously that's going to change up the lineup a little bit. He was only getting about 20 minutes a game anyway, so it's not crazy. But now we'll have to find somebody who can play at the wing and provide some shooting as he did from 3-point. And we're hoping that guy can be Lee Nalon, as he's going to have to come off the reserves and play a few minutes for us in clutch time. As we're rounding that playoff time, hoping to go against maybe one of the weaker teams, so definitely get into the 2nd or 3rd seed with this injury. But we do lose a game versus the Hawks. And that's how we are going to end the episode, guys. Hope you guys liked everything. Hope you guys are loving the series. Hope you guys loving the idea. Loving the Knicks. But one more thing I had to show was the mock draft. Actually thought we was going to get Kirk Heinrich. Seriously. But anyways, guys, make sure you subscribe, like, and peace, love, and blessings. We're going up against He Got Game, y'all.